Hello and welcome to Under the Plumb Bob, a podcast where we talk about the EA series of game called The Sims. If our cats let us record. Ava was almost taken out.
I was a bit panicky because I have 2 candles burning here, and his tail came very close to that flame. He has already singed it 3 times in a
Ooh.
6-year lifespan, and I don't want to go for number 4. I love him, but he's dumb.
I'm Caitlin,
I'm Ava.
and in honor of the announcement that Project Renee, which is most likely the soft launch of Sims 5, and the fact that there have already been leaks and hacks into this very early development game.
Leaks? The Sims? No!
I can't remember where it was said, but somebody was like, what's the point of even trying to hack into something that's this early? Like, what? Like, nothing's finalized.
Nope.
Today we're talking about The Sims in their beta form or in development form. This is kind of a showcase of just because this is how the game looks right now doesn't mean it's going to look anything like that come whenever this gets released in 2050.
We will also see that, sometimes it can get better, sometimes it cannot. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
We will get there. And also thank you to listener Audrey who suggested this. She was, if Twitter's also still around by the time this comes out, her at was at oddbally on Twitter for suggesting this like a couple months ago. And we just now did it. This took a little more research and we're lazy.
Look, I'm gonna be honest, like the whole Twitter meltdown is bringing me so much joy right now. Because I hate Elon Musk, and to just see everything crash and burn around him is just delicious. I want more.
He tweeted like, "Anime, we've never been more popular. This is a big surge." And someone responded like, "Wow, we've never had this many people on the deck before," said the captain of Titanic.
I mean, it is. Like, look, dude fires all of his engineers and then complains about why the app isn't working the way it's supposed to. Like, because you fired everybody who's supposed to fix it.
Also, he did that thing where he's acted like, I don't know if he was intended to do this or not, but we're going to go hardcore. You better want to put up with the works to scare people off.
He made them sign a paper that would make them promise to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
Or, to work hard. Like, what is your definition of work hard? What if these people are already giving it, 100%? Do you want them to literally work themselves to death? Like, are you going to send people to their houses to stand behind them with actual whips? Because I can see him do that.
And he wanted to not have people work from home, but it's like an online website. You don't really need to be in an office. No, my job, I actually have someone in my department has to be in the office because we need the mail because that's when the checks get here and we have to deposit it in the office. So my job, yes, somebody in our department kind of has to be in the office during the day, but not all the time, and they don't need to.
My job neither. Like, we don't have to physically be there, but our employer does make us come in 2 days a week, which, fair enough. That still gives 3 days a week where I can work from home. I'm not gonna complain, but it's just, I don't understand.
This might be the corporate millennial in me, but I don't mind. I hate traveling, but I also don't mind in office time because it does.
I do like seeing my colleagues again at some point.
I like seeing, because also sometimes it's just easier to do some stuff in the place where the work was meant to be done than in my home.
Also, but we're here to talk Sims in beta phase.
Which, what does beta mean? Do you know without looking it up?
Look, beta is usually the process of finding the last of the bugs before release. It's kind of like a trial version.
Beta might be the wrong topic. This is slightly in process. At least the Sims 1 was going to be the actual production because there was no rhymer. They ran around a lot of circles to get to land on what the Sims was.
I think it's the beta phase is where you First you have an alpha where you have like the bare bones of it, and then the beta is where you like take the best ideas from the alpha and you start actually building it.
Some of mine are from alpha. Some of my stuff is from like alpha or more in development, because there's what I'm gonna talk about for the original Sims game. There is so much more out there than like you can pull up documents they used at Maxis for some of the rough drafts for this, and there's like pictures out there. Like in our notes I threw in pictures and stuff of them developing how the Sims look, because the game didn't exist, so they didn't know what they were going to do or how they were going to look or what was going to go on. So keep that in mind while we
like, I'm looking at this one drawing that you included in the script, and I'm like, why do they look like the Who's from Whoville?
I didn't know what they were doing.
Apparently.
Okay, so the original Sims game started as a side project known as Project X during SimCity 2000 production. Eventually it gets named the Jefferson Project around the 1997 time, and then after that, The Sims. So this is another reason why Project Renee, probably Sims 5. They didn't think they could combine different heads on different bodies at the time during early production. They were like, that seems like a crazy thought. So phase 1 development focused on, quote, well-directed pre-made scenarios, unquote, that would guide their users through what their characters were capable of, which sounds like what tutorials now do. Like, hey, go do this. They thought the entire game would be like that.
No.
Because they didn't. They didn't think the dollhouse situation was kind of, well, that seems. I don't even know if they thought about that at this point, like early night, like when they were working on this. Early drafts from the Jefferson era plan on having a sitcoms be heavily influenced on the overall look of the first game. And the first 4 Sims ever made were Archie Bunker, Edith Bunker, Samantha, and Darren. Do you get the references? Do you get it? Ava, do you get it?
Wait, what were the name? Arthur?
Archie Bunker, Edith Bunker, Samantha, and Darren.
Okay, so Archie is definitely comic book Archie's. I think Samantha and Darren are from Bewitched.
Yes.
I'm not sure who Edith is, though.
So Archie Bunker, there was a sitcom called All in the Family, and Archie Bunker was the main character on that, and Edith was...
Oh, okay. So not Riverdale Archie.
No. Sitcom Archie.
Okay, but Samantha and Darren are definitely from
Bewitched. Edith was actually the first one they developed, and Edith is the picture that I put up here in the script.
Oh, Edith! Oh, no. No. Okay.
They were pretty much like, you're going to have these 4 Sims, and that's it. Was pretty much the early...
This actually reminds me of one of the options of, like, the alien races in Spore.
I wonder... Hold on, I want to pull up Sims 1, Ada, Archie Bunker. Because he's hilarious to look at. Like, he looks like a fake...
I'm just going to send you in the Discord real quick what Archie Bunker looked like in the game.
Oh my god! Well, I can definitely see, like, the inspiration for Bob Newby, but holy shit, Archie!
He looks like a bobble toy kind, like one of those, like, he looks like a Christmas ornament, kind of, with his roundness.
Looks terrifying.
So I think they were all about, like, basic shapes for, like, them. I think it might have been easier for them at the time to develop just, like, you're a ball, continue with your life.
I mean, yeah, look at the video games back in the day. You're a ball. Lara Croft's tits are cones. That's just how it goes.
And then Edith's face is very, like, angular.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff happening. She got cheekbones for days, though, so good for her.
You could cut yourself slapping those.
Jefferson had the earliest concept of needs. All needs either fell under the physical or mental needs. And there was, most of them listed were ones that we know. There were 2 called alertness and stress that were mentioned, but didn't make it into the game. They possibly turned into energy and fun. And I can kind of see where they're like, let's not bring up the word stress in our game. We don't want to bring that word to your mind, so we're going to replace it with fun.
Let's not manifest that.
So you gain fun instead of I need to lose stress.
Yeah.
Time. Okay, so remind me, in the Sims game, the original Sims 1 game, was there like a clock? Was there like a days of the week? Was there like a calendar? Like this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
No.
So time was going to play a much bigger part in the game. And I think time was going to play a big part, like whatever time it is for you, that's what it would be for your sim from the sound of it. And your happiness was going to be measured into 4 time frames. So current, daily, weekly, lifetime, and just like have you been meeting your wants and needs for your lifetime and the weekly, daily ones. This got scrapped for a day and night cycle, but the game does still keep track of the day and the year without you noticing or caring. Developers thought the system would be more of an annoyance than fun. So if it was 8 o'clock for you, it would have been 8 o'clock for them, which could have meant like.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
That's what it sounds like from what I was reading, that it was going to be associated with your own time, and I was like, God, that would have been hard to play. Because if I had to send my sim to work, do I just leave my game on?
I just remembered, now that you mentioned the clock and like the days of the week and stuff in The Sims 1, there were none. You had to go to work every single day because you didn't have days off. You could fake sick or whatever, just not go to work one day, but if you did that too many times, you'd lose your job. So you literally had to go to work every single day because there was no calendar.
I think it was just easier for them to not do that.
Probably. So I remember like the first time when I played Sims 2, I was like, oh my god, we have weekends now!
Oh my god, a whole day off.
Wow. That's why I used the Rosebud cheat a lot, is I was like, I don't want to have to send my work to Sim. I want to be able to do stuff with them.
Right.
So I would just cheat them all the money so that they wouldn't have to go to work, and then I would, go around and go on vacation and have my pets and do fun stuff. Because if you had to go to work every single day, you literally had no time to do any of the fun stuff.
Me personally once had to, during the 2-job time, there was during the fall time, I was like, I have a day off in 3 weeks. I worked 3 straight weeks.
No.
With no days off. And it was just and then somewhere in the middle of that's I also need to see my friends. So even if I'm not working second job in the afternoon, I'm going to go do something. And then I was the days off that I had, it would literally just be me hermiting. My roommates would be like, oh, you're here today. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go sleep. Don't talk to me.
See, that's what I don't understand, because Elon Musk, yes, I'm going back to Elon. He tried to get all of his staff to sign that document that said they had to work a minimum of 40 hours. Here, you're not allowed to work more than 40. If your contract says 40 hours, that's it. You can't work because you're not getting that overtime. If my boss catches me sending an email at I don't know, 8 o'clock in the evening, you best know that the next day she's gonna be like, what the fuck, Ava? I was like, sorry.
What were you doing? I guess the thought process here for some people, not for I'm hourly, so I clock in and out, right? So if I clock out, I'm not clocking back in for you an hour after I left to do the quick thing. I'm probably not going to do that because I clocked out an hour ago.
Yep.
If your salary, there's a little more and also salary people have the more flexibility to be
that is true.
I'm going to go leave at 3, but I'll come back at 5 to finish up the day. What? Where were we?
We were talking about how you always had to go to work in Sims 1 because there was no day or night system or day system.
Tossed out the clock. And I think later they figured out in Sims 2, but I think they were like, we don't want to deal with this. So we'll just, every day's work for you.
Yeah.
In the original Sims beta, you could have had a guitar, acoustic or electric. These were, of course, added on the first expansion pack, Live and Large. But
yep.
I don't know if they just couldn't get it to work right, or they decided it made more sense later.
Also possible.
This one kind of early interactions with Sims. So if you have visitors come over,
yeah,
early stuff would be you would have to follow that person around because they'd be like, "Where's the bathroom?" And you'd be like, "The bathroom's over here." So you have to escort them around and help the visitor sim fill their needs up instead of them just figuring it out for themselves.
No.
Thank God they did that. But that's why your Sims always know where the bathroom is in your home, because that must have been tedious. Oh, so I did find one of the examples for the tutorials. Let me zoom in because the picture did a weird thing. Okay, so here's tutorial home number 3. The story: Archie and Darren are living an empty and shallow life of boredom because they have no TV. The only way for them to afford one is for Archie to go do an honest day's work. Get Archie to his carpool on time and in a good mood, and maybe, just maybe, their lives will be worth living. The carpool.
Wow!
The carpool, played by a honking blue box in the driveway, appears around 8 a.m. and waits about 20 game minutes before it gives up and drives off without Archie. Archie's happiness affects how much he earns at the job each day. See what other factors affect his salary, promotion, or termination. The TV is only the most obvious way to entertain the fellows. Just buying that TV with your first $500 and see if you can get some moolah in the house before Darren dies of starvation. Once he's dead, it's a lot easier for Archie to make ends meet.
Wow! Oh, too many mouths to feed? Just kill off your roommate. Jesus.
Easy peasy. That one was about economics. There was like the one under that. It says about architecture. So like that had more home-based stuff instead of like, go get a job, losers.
My God. It's just like capitalism. Run, piggy, run. Oh, God.
I do wonder, did Darren not have a job? Why does it, like, they both should get a job. It didn't say.
Yeah.
They went through at least 10 UI iterations because trying to figure out, they had to fill out the build buy mode situation because they didn't know what to do with that, and then figuring out, like, where do all the things go?
That is a good question, though. You do need to know where all the things go.
There was a character named Crazy Larry was created, and while he did not make it into the game, he was the main reference for the style of future Sims. There's a picture of him as well. He's the guy with the blue vest and green pants.
With the blue vest and green pants. That is already... Oh, Larry! Oh, dear.
Style icon.
That is something. I especially love the bubblegum pink tie. Looks fetching on him.
I also think there's a little L on his vest.
I thought it was a moon.
It
could be a little L, yeah.
L or a C or a wave. Who's to say? Or an arm doing like muscles.
Could be anything.
In 1997, that is when Maxis was purchased by EA. So... look at that. The Sims game was always technically an EA game. It never was an EA. I literally had to stop reading and then go tell people in my house about this because I was like, this is interesting to me. Only 2 EA people were excited about this concept, 2.
Oh, no.
A lot of people in the company were not. I think somebody calls it like a toilet game or something. Like it was literally like they did not think this was going to work out at all.
That is not great. I mean, they proved him wrong, but dang.
They sure did. Yeah, The Sims, despite initial surprise caused by being told that the toilet game was in fact the company's next big project. Like that, they did not think it was gonna be.
Did they call it a toilet game because they expected it to go down the toilet, or did they call it a toilet game because it looked like something you would play while on the toilet?
I think they thought it was a shitty idea. So.
Right.
They don't have a little... I can't go look up where they found that quote, though. So 2 people, Luke Bartlett was super supportive, and he was the only person who saw the potential for storytelling in it. Like that, he is written down as somebody who saw exactly...
Good boy, Luke. Luke sounds like a sound chap. Smart guy.
Luke L-U-C.
We do like Luke Bartlett.
Officially, at this point, we are no longer Project Jefferson, and we are now The Sims. We have now left Project Jefferson. We're on The Sims now.
Okay.
There is a YouTube video of a guy named Don Hopkins, who joined during the Jefferson era, showing what the demo of the game looked like in 1998. You can go find it on YouTube. So you can see like early what it looks like. There's a lot of what will become The Sims, but there's some style things that are different. There's a blue dot
Yep.
over The Sims, not a plumb bob. There's no action cue, so whatever your sim is doing, that's it. There's no further thought in their brain than the sandwich they are making. This one, Sims, they can order a pizza, but it just shows up, so it just
Yep.
appears. That's the dream, honestly.
Yeah. That's like the Star Trek dream. You just press a button and it appears.
Also, during the video, they showed that they had a how-to of how to play the game. So someone coming in with new eyes, not knowing what the game was, they had little instructions. Cheats were always included and always a part of this game. Cheats were
Boom.
always meant to be a part of the game. By 1999, the game was really forming. There are screenshots out there you can compare. Like, there's a lot of just like object tweaks, or like these objects didn't make it to the game. There's a ton of those, and some renders are different. But for the most part, they've pretty much those demos. There's like several demos. I think I found 3 of like clips out there. They're all in the thing. But yeah, so that's Sims 1. Sims 2.
Here we go.
So in Sims 2, early beta footage showed that rain and lightning was planned to be part of the base game. This even included Sims being able to die by being struck by lightning if they were in the hot tub. Obviously, this made it into the Sims 2 Seasons expansion pack. They had to cut this because the rain was going inside. They couldn't figure out how to make the rainwater not leak into your house.
I mean, that's kind of like if you're gonna add rain to like a life simulator, it would be nice to figure out how to stop the rain from coming into your home.
I made a shelter. I should not be wet from inside the shelter.
No, that is not how shelters work.
There was also supposed to be several different kind of scenarios. So you know how there's the party, like the party meter, and like if you do good on the party, it goes up and people's moods go up. Dating's kind of a scenario, and
Yeah.
so is like the headmaster. So
Yep.
there's supposed to be a power outage scenario that would happen during thunderstorms. It was going to be treated like a party, so if you kept your Sims happy during the scenario, you'd be rewarded with a wind turbine that would prevent future power from going out. The little thought bubble that would come up for that was, the SimCity Power Company has experienced problems in your service area, and we're hoping to have your power back on in about 7 hours.
Yep.
In the meantime, during this crisis, would you try to keep your family in a decent mood? Condescending, but yeah. So if you did a good job, you would get a wind turbine that you would no longer be affected by these power outages.
I wonder if they would have used that same tone when Texas was freezing.
No problem.
So just try to keep your family happy while you freeze, okay? We'll work on it.
So dumb. There were a couple other scenarios that got cut. There was the big boss scenario, so it would have acted, so instead of it'd act like the headmaster scenario, but it would be that situation of the boss is coming to dinner. That happened in every.
That is such a sitcom staple. Like it was even in WandaVision, they did that too. That was one of the episodes of WandaVision.
It was. Why did that happen? I've never had my boss over for dinner, like whatsoever. And also, if we did a bad job, I wasn't gonna get fired. It just
such a weird concept. Did that happen back in like the 50s in America? Like, was that a thing?
If somebody knows out there, let us know, because it happened on every single sitcom. But they also slept in 2 different beds on sitcoms. So who's
that is true. Honestly, though, if I ever got together with someone, separate beds, preferably separate rooms.
If you can afford it, separate rooms. There was also an engagement scenario. So you would have to build up a romantic relationship with your sim, and if it ended well, the sim would propose at the end of the scenario, and then it would play the cutscene that Sims 2 had, the little cutscene, and it would, whichever way the scenario went, would accept or and that was cut for being too repetitive. Some of it is still in the game files, though.
Wow.
Hey, wow.
Didn't know that they were actually gonna turn that into a scenario. That is interesting.
And the memory system was actually supposed to be a little more heavy. The memory system, which we love and miss from Sims 2.
Yes, that is correct.
A little more oomph to the day-to-day life of your Sims. It would give your Sims memories to keep them happy throughout their lifetime. Memories and needs are combined to calculate a Sim's moods. So certain memories and had certain strengths and intensities. The two different ends of the spectrum are. So a great memory is a positive memory that would keep your Sim's mood up for a long time and fade slowly. And an awful memory is a powerful negative memory and lowers Sim's mood for a long time and fades slower. This kind of makes me think of Sims 4.
Yep.
And the sentiments.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wow, they kind of, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but this memory system really reminds me of what is currently, it took them so long to get there in Sims 4, but the sentiments reminds me of this.
Yeah, the only thing that really annoys me now is the unfulfilled dreams ones.
Oh, the fears.
That come up. It's not, I don't know if it's a fear, because I don't think I have that active, but like if you don't work on your lifetime aspiration for a long time, you will wake up with like, you're tense because of unfulfilled dreams, or you're sad because your dreams aren't being fulfilled, or you're angry because your dreams are being fulfilled. It pisses me off, to be honest, because I'm like, I don't have time to constantly work on your goddamn lifetime wants.
I think that's a fear of not fulfilling dreams, and I think there should be like on the where the whims are, which are now wants, which to me there's not a really big difference between them, but
yeah,
there should be one that's like a little cloud on the right hand side, and it's pretty much for that one. I think you just have to do one of the wants or whims,
really,
and then talk to somebody, and then talk to another sim about that. That should be the fix. But that's Sims 1 and Sims 2.
Oh, Sims 1 and Sims 2 complete. What does that leave us with?
Trash.
I'll fight you. No, basically that brings us to The Sims 3. And
the best days are behind us.
I got most of my information from a YouTuber called, I'm going to try and pronounce this, but I can't. Cutipus? I don't. Cutupuss. That is how you spell that.
For your Sims 4 stuff. Did you get it from your Sims 3 stuff?
Sims 3 stuff as well, yeah. So basically, not a whole lot from the beta was cut to basically go to the full game because they had like a really solid dev team. Those were the days. But a lot of the things that kind of like got knocked around a lot was the traits. Now, the traits they were originally going to be a point system where positive traits would cost you points, but negative traits would give points back. And in an interview with Ray Mazza, the dev team basically acknowledged that this would be too geeky.
Too crunchy numbering.
For the game, yeah.
I can see that. That's a little too...
Yeah, I can sort of see that, to be honest, because it does seem a little bit RPG-ish, and my anti-min max brain is already revolting at the thought of it. But it would have been pretty interesting to see that go.
Me trying to make my D&D character so I can pass any kind of
yeah, pretty much. It pisses me off. I had a player once in a campaign who tried to do just that. And I was just fucking around with him constantly. He's like, but you can't do that. And I was like, I'm the DM. I can do what the fuck I want. Leave me alone.
Is he a rogue?
He was a rogue.
I'm playing... So right now, I actually managed to get an in-person game. And I'm playing a rabbit wizard.
I'm so excited for you.
Named Tabitha Copperhair. And we all rolled... Like, each of us rolled a number for our stats. And we didn't roll under 10. So all of us are just okay or amazing. Like there's no
like, yeah. I mean, fair. That's the way you play the game. You roll the dice and it decides, you know.
Roll the dice. Continue.
Yeah, so it would have been interesting, but I think at some point you would just go like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Now some traits were later replaced with others, or the effects of these traits were incorporated into other traits, because like they had this setting that it was going to be 5 traits per sim maximum.
5?
Yeah, 5.
What was it in Sims 3? Is it still 3?
5.
It was 5?
5.
I don't play this game.
But you could basically, if you had the point system, you could just like fuck around with it and see who, how, where, what. But I have watched this video over and over again, and like paused at certain points so I can make an entire list of the traits that used to be in the game. Basically
how many
so
points did you
many.
get?
So many. I will put a link to the video in the script so we can maybe put it in the episode description, because like it was very interesting, and he's done other beta videos as well. He was also incredibly salty about The Sims 4, which I appreciate. But yeah, list of traits. The first one was boring, which was then replaced with no sense of humor. There was braggart, which then became a part of snob. There was the chess mastermind trait, which became a part of genius. Conversationalist, which was added to charismatic. Crybaby became parts of the loser and over emotional traits. And there was a trait called disdains dessert. It was not replaced, it was just cut. Which, let's be honest, that was a smart decision. Because if you don't like desserts, we can't be friends.
I guess you do that, like, we're gonna make it so nobody likes the Sim. He doesn't even like desserts.
He doesn't like pie. Who doesn't like pie? You know,
like pie or cakes discussion doesn't matter to him. He's dead inside.
He doesn't like either. Can you like see this guy? Hey Jeff, come up here. Help us win this discussion. I say cake is better than pie, and she says pie is better than cake. What's the best one? Neither. And all of a sudden, Brenda and Joanne are ganging up against Jeffrey, going, "What?
This is like what, cake or pie?"
It's like neither. Well, I mean, what do you say to that? What do you say to that?
Maybe neither. Both. Like what?
But
you?
How do you
say neither?
He did say neither.
What about you? You, Ava, opinion.
Me, Ava, opinion. I like both. Like, I am the opposite of disdains dessert.
If you had to pick one, like if you could only have one,
I would fight for both. I would fight tooth and nail for both.
I think I'm on the side of pie. I think I like it more than cake. I can't enjoy frosting anymore, because the good kind of frosting I can't have that much anymore.
Okay, no, but see, honey, listen to me.
The best kind of frosting I can't have, and I can't have ice cream cake.
No, there's 3 kinds of frosting, right? There's the American frosting, which is basically just
I can't have buttercream.
Butter and powdered sugar. But it's too sweet. It's not good. Then there's the meringue buttercreams. There's a Swiss meringue buttercream, and there's an Italian meringue buttercream, and the Swiss meringue buttercream is basically the same as the Italian meringue buttercream without all the like hassle you have to go through of getting a sugar thermometer to like boil your sugar. Which is basically it's egg whites and sugar, and you melt it, and then you whip it, like you warm the egg whites on a double boiler until the sugar is melted and incorporated. Then you whip it into a meringue until it's like okay to the touch, and then you just chuck in butter. And you keep whipping and you chuck in butter. It's so good. It's the best.
That'll hurt me.
It's so smooth and it's so silky, and like maybe you should try it with lactose-free butter or vegan butter. I don't know if it's gonna be
also,
as good.
There's whipped cream frosting, which I love also and can't have.
I also love whipped ganache, which is like you make a ganache, which is cream and chocolate, and then you let it cool down, and then you whip it, and then it becomes frosting. It's so good.
With the premise of that you have to pick one, like that's the premise. If I have to go with the premise, like I think I would have a harder time giving up certain pies than certain cakes.
I honestly don't know, because there's so many different things that you can do with a good cake, like a basic cake recipe. And there's some pies that I simply cannot have because I'm allergic to certain fruits. But I do have to admit that I have a recipe for an apple pie that is just...
Yeah, apple pie is the one where I'm like, I don't know if I could ever not have an apple pie again. And I like pumpkin pie.
Yeah, because it's like
I'm assuming this includes like a shepherd's pie situation. I love...
No. Sweet pies only. Sweet pies only. We're not talking about savory in this.
Because I'm trying to think of, is there... If I had to, like, cake. Cake is just kind of cake. But there's apple pie. And there's cherry pie. And there's pumpkin pie.
But like when you say cake, you just mean sponge cake or like all the cakes?
I guess I don't eat cake that much. I think I just have pie more than cake.
Because like... There's certain cakes. There's like my personal favorite is called a fraisier.
No.
And it's a very, very soft, light sponge. It's a Genovese sponge. So good. It's very light and very fluffy, and it's not your butter, sugar, eggs scenario. You basically beat your eggs with your sugar, but you beat it for like 10 minutes until it like poofs up amazingly. And then you just fold some flour under it until it's incorporated, and you get like this really like soft, fluffy sponge. And there's, I think, whipped cream involved and strawberries, and it just is so good.
But I couldn't
So
have
good.
that cake. I'd have to take medication to eat that cake.
Why? There's no butter in it.
You said there's whipped cream in there.
No. You can add the whipped cream if you want to,
No,
but you don't have
sounds like
to.
you just said whipped cream.
I usually for that bit I use soy whipped cream.
I just told my sisters asked a question, and I think my response was like, I'm pretty wary of any food that's white nowadays. And they're like, well, that's just the wrong opinion. I was like, it actively hurts me. And if I'm in a strange new place, I'm not adventurous with my food. In my own home, I'm more adventurous because that's my bathroom.
Yeah.
But otherwise, white food, I tend not to take chances. Like, oh, it's a white dip? No. It's a dip that's white? No, thank you.
It's probably cheese in there. I'm not gonna do it.
Cheese or milk?
I have that with anything that's red. Like, if it's like fruit flavored and if it's red, I'm like, are there cherries in there?
Which is a bummer because, like, cherry is my favorite artificial
I fucking love cherries. I used to love them, and now they want to kill me. But anyway, where were we? Dreamer. Dreamer was also supposed to be a trait, and it became part of the ambitious trait. Then there was easily bored, which became part of childish, which I don't think is fair because I get bored easily, and I don't think I'm childish.
It's just the ADHD. That's just the ADHD. That's not the childish.
Pretty much. Yeah, you can't really. Anyway, gloomy was replaced with grumpy.
Gloomy is a trait in Sims 4, though, isn't it?
I think it's loner, but I'm not sure. I know. I'm not sure.
Good at massages was going to be a whole ass trait. You needed that to be one of your personality.
Yeah, I'm good at massages. That is literally who I am as a person. But it became part of the flirty trait. Greedy was replaced with mooch. Hates computers became a part of technophobe. Hates reading was taken out, but would have conflicted with the bookworm trait. Who hates reading? Reading is fun. Likes giving hugs was also supposed to be a trait.
It's a fifth of your personality.
Yeah,
I like to give hugs. I'm a hugger.
I'm good at massages. I like giving hugs.
Don't touch me.
Yeah. But it would have conflicted with Great Kisser if it had stayed in, but it didn't. Yeah. Materialistic was also part of. Materialistic is in Sims 4, but it was not in Sims 3. It was taken out, but it would have conflicted with the frugal trait.
I don't think likes giving hugs should conflict with Great Kisser. I don't agree. Why not?
You're more of a hugger than a kisser. I don't know. I'm more of a hugger than a kisser. I don't. And like, I come from a country where like we are part Flemish, part German, and part French, and that like French part.
They don't have the same correlation that like. Reading means I'm not going to be a bookworm, I guess. The same,
I guess, but like I don't know.
Like to me, they don't mean they completely cancel each other out.
So the way my French colleagues say hello is by kissing each other on the cheek. I hate that. I hate that so much. COVID has been a godsend in that regard because it's like, oh, social distancing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I have kind of developed a like negative attitude towards kissing. I don't know, maybe it's the asexual part of me, but even when I was with someone and they would want to like make out or something, I was just like, I just end up wet and sticky and I don't like it. I was wearing foundation, but now there's like a whole spot in my face where I'm not wearing foundation anymore, which annoys me. So yeah, never been a kisser. But I love hugs. I love giving hugs. I love getting hugs. Just don't bring your mouth anywhere near my face, please.
I guess I just don't see them. And I don't think it doesn't necessarily knock each other out. Like, I hate reading means you're not going to be a bookworm because you absolutely hate books. So you can't like reading. And the same way, like, I like to buy things, which means I'm not frugal.
I mean,
I don't like the same, like, it's the same way of just like, I like like you can't be liking technology and also hate computers.
okay, but
So,
it's a
like,
game though.
those, yeah, I know. I don't agree. Is all.
I mean, that's kind of like within the binary of the game where it had to be like we have to put in conflict somehow. So I
Yeah.
guess in like a generalization, this would conflict with this.
But they don't all conflict. Not all of them conflict with other stuff.
Not all of them, but some of them.
And I guess they took it out, so it doesn't matter. But like,
no.
that's weird to me that they were like these.
But there was, I mean,
I just thought that was weird.
There's some other stuff, like within the game, like some traits that if you take them, then you can't take other traits because they would conflict.
The good and evil ones.
Yeah, there's other ones too.
I don't remember. I don't play Sims 3 that much.
I think like hydrophobe, and then like the swimming, the one that likes swimming,
See,
like
that makes
hydrophobe
sense.
and the sailor trait.
Like, you can't hate water and want to be on the ocean.
Like, I mean, but I'm just saying, there's other things that kind of like
having stuff conflict isn't my problem. I just don't.
I think there was something about like
I don't care too much about this. I just don't think it.
I mean,
weird.
Yeah, but there was also mean, which was the same as mean spirited, which means it was probably the original name of that trait, but it was then later changed. There was a trait called pack rat, which was then replaced with materialistic and slob. So, you know, you could be a hoarder if you wanted to. Paranoid, which was replaced with coward. Plain, which was not used. Can you imagine? Like, what trait is plain? Like, what's wrong with plain?
I like things that are beige. I don't know.
You know what my favorite way to eat my toast is? With butter. That's it. Plain. There's nothing wrong with plain.
I think I'd say just nothing on it. Not even butter. I just like to eat bread by itself. That's just how I like to eat my carbs. I just like to eat bread.
Because of the low blood sugar, I have like been talking to my nutritionist, and she was like, "Are you eating your carbs though?" And I was like, "I mean, I had cut down on them a little bit." She's like, "Don't do that." So I have to eat all the carbs now.
What a great note from your doctor. Just eat carbs, sweetie.
Yeah. Eat carbs and eat more like smaller meals more frequently, but like throughout the day.
Graze. Don't eat large meals. Just graze throughout the day.
God. That's why I have like a package of digestive biscuits near my desk now, because every time like I start feeling the dizzies, I get like a cookie. But there is also quick recovery, which would have come with World Adventures, but it was eventually replaced with the Stone-Hearted Lifetime Happiness Reward. And for those of you who don't know what Stone-Hearted Lifetime Happiness Reward was, like me, I did not know what this was before. I'd never used it. It's a lifetime happiness reward that costs 10,000 points. And the description is, want a sim that's practically Spock when it comes to negative emotions? This one's the one for you. Your sim won't feel sadness when those life-changing events come along. Lose a friend? Not a prob. Death in the family? No big deal. It takes a lot to bring this sim down. I wouldn't take this perk early on for any of my sims, but this would be a nice addition later on in the game for sims who have large families with a lot of drama.
This would be great for the 100 Baby Challenge. When all the siblings start dying, or all the it's just like
once your family starts resembling a Bravo TV show, this is what you need. So yeah, the quick recovery was replaced by that. There was also rude, which is that then became part of inappropriate, hot-headed, and mean-spirited. There's also
ruffian.
There's a TikToker or like Facebook short or like Instagram or whatever, She's a Southern lady, and she's got some cats, and she does voiceovers for these cats in like the southern drawl. And there's like her one cat, Willow, like she's a bit chunky. Whenever you say something rude about her, she's like, rude! And I just can't help but hear that whenever I see rude.
You gotta be so rude.
Rude. But that became part of Inappropriate, Hot-Headed, and Mean-Spirited. Then there was Ruffian.
How many meetings? You know there had to be dozens of meetings breaking down traits and people pitching traits and people pitching like, here's my trait and here's quirks of that trait. There had to be several.
So many
meetings, and then to have them split up and turned into other things also meant that we're like, somebody put all of them on a list and said, okay, we're going to deconstruct every single one and we're going to combine, cut, or do
Can you
whatever.
just imagine the gigantic whiteboard full of like Post-its? It was so cool. That is a meeting I would love to sit in on. That does not have to be an email. Like, I would be in that meeting.
I'd be in, because that's a discussion. That's like, we need to talk about the rude trait, because I feel like it's a little repetitive with these, like...
Ruffian seems a little bit too 19th century. Let's bring it into the 20th, and let's make it part of Mean-Spirited.
Ruffian's a great name for a pet.
Ruffian. There was Shy, which was replaced with Loner, and that was then recreated in Late Night, because I think Loner came with Late Night. Stubborn was replaced with Hot-Headed. There was Stupid, which was replaced with Absent-Minded, which was probably for the best, because yikes. There was Sweet Talker, which was replaced with Schmoozer. There was Unforgiving, which was not used. And Vain.
I wonder what unforget, like, I guess once you're one and done.
Keep a grudge, like you hold a grudge longer than, I guess they would be angry with other Sims for longer. I don't know. There was Vain, which then became part of Snob and was similar to the Diva trait. Wanton, which had no description and was scrapped for time.
Okay, so I googled it. Of cruel or violent action, deliberate and unprovoked. And then the second one is, it says date, like this is a dated one, but sexually unrestrained or of many casual relationships.
That's what I think about when I hear wanton. Which, just to make clear, it is WANTON, not WONTON. It's wanton, not wanton. There's a difference. Wanton is a very negatively described trait, and one is a delicious dumpling. So,
a sexually unrestrained woman is
just considered a bad
thing. So one is deliberate, willful, malicious. The other one is promiscuous, immoral, immodest, indecent, shameless.
Yeah. See, I have always, like, when I heard about the word wanton, it was always like to put a woman in a negative light because of her like promiscuity and stuff. Like this wanton whore, you know, that kind of thing. That's what I came into contact with. So I was always taught that it was like a negative thing. But when you put it like that, I'm like, girl, you go. You do you, boo. I'm not judging. You want to be one.
Take that negative trait for the points.
Yep. And then there was Worrywart, which was replaced with Neurotic. Because, I don't know, it sounded too much like an ingredient from a Harry Potter potion.
It does. I don't know why in my brain Worrywart was worry and then WORT. I don't know why wart.
It reminds me of one of the ingredients that Sally uses for her potion in The Night Before Christmas.
Worrywart is something I've said a lot, but have not seen written out a whole bunch.
Worrywart.
Person who tends to dwell unduly on difficult or troubles. Like I say, worrywart.
Oh, okay, me.
You worrywart, you.
Yep. But yeah, those were the traits that were supposed to be in the game, but were either assimilated into something else or cut entirely. There were some other changes, like aesthetics-wise. For example, Kaz. I did include some pictures, and it used to be like one of the very first ones. It was very white.
It was. I don't like that.
No, it does not look great.
I live everything in dark mode, so like.
Yeah. And then the other picture was also taken in CAS, which is kind of like the like basic Sims information. And if you look at it closely in that last picture, it shows that the young adult icon looks shorter than the adult one, which is interesting. And there also seems to be a baby icon in CAS, or if that's supposed to signify toddlers, then that meant that there was another life state between child and teenager. Why that never became a thing, we don't know, but it was there.
They hate babies.
Yeah, well. Then there was a like the final, like one of the final versions was a little bit more similar to what the cast screen was that we eventually got, but the environment looks a lot different, and there's like lighting effects, like the light coming in through the window and such. And there were stairs. It kind of looks like someone would live there and not just like a blank room with a mirror in it.
Yeah, it's like someone, not their home, because there's no warmth here, but it's just like some kind of office or something they're changing in.
There was also a gameplay UI difference. It's hard to explain it. I would recommend like maybe checking out the YouTube video. Cutipus? I don't know. I'm sorry, man. But I will put the link. I will make sure the link is in the script so we can put it into the description. The gameplay UI also looked different, and the Sims were still potatoes, and the map icons were also different, but the quality of the houses was so much worse. Like, if you had a decent machine, the overworld could look very good, but in the beginning stages, they looked very plasticky, and
it's that like weird light shine on everything. Like, it's still in the Sims 3,
and not detailed. It was like anti-aliasing. Like he said, anti-aliasing didn't exist. It was just like blur. There used to be a clothing store, but it was scrapped, and they just made it so you could change to whatever clothing, whatever you wanted, if you had access to a wardrobe.
They did do that.
Yeah, but the concept for the clothing store, like the building concept, was later reused for the spa. They didn't say why they took out the shopping for clothes thing, because that was in The Sims 2, and that was something that I really enjoyed.
Sims 3 would have just been a rabbit hole, though, wouldn't it? Is that a rabbit hole?
Yeah, but probably would have been kind of like the same thing, like the grocery store. Like, you would go into the rabbit hole, but it would like maybe bring you to CAS, and then you could try on outfits and put them in a basket and check out. I don't know. Maybe that's like what you had to do to unlock them, but I don't know. I think it would have been interesting. Yeah, that's kind of it for The Sims 3. There wasn't that much different. Now, Sims 4. Now, I do advise you to check out this video by Mr. Cutipus/Cutipus, because he starts off his video saying that he finally got to the worst part in the series, The Sims 4. So, yeah, we're off to a good start here. So we all know Sims 4 started as Project Olympus. And maybe you didn't, but now you do. And Project Olympus was designed to be a new multiplayer Sims game that would not follow the same kind of like family play-based style that basically made the Sims series famous. They were like, okay, we have a winning formula on our hands here. What are we going to do? Not that. Which makes sense. But you would be able to chat with others and invite them to your game and stuff. And I think it was like a max of 4 players that could come to your game. Because when I say Sims, I say, yes, I would like to show other people that I keep a troll sim in my basement who does nothing but paint expensive paintings for me to sell. And yes, Brenda, that sim in the pool does look like you. Ladder? Nah, she don't need a ladder. She's fine. That's exactly why I play The Sims, to share that with other people so they can see just how weird I am.
It's a weird concept to just, we're playing a dollhouse simulator, and I don't want somebody always in my dollhouse, I guess.
Yeah, and if you're hanging out with other people, that means that like you're in that game. I never play as myself. Ever. That is like the one reason why I play Sims. I never play as myself because I don't want to be myself for a little while. That's why I play games. It's like, I don't like myself, so I don't want to be myself in this game. I know there's like a whole thing I should probably see a therapist about, but trust me, we're working on it, okay?
I like you. I don't know if I'd play you in the Sims game, but I like
Well,
you.
there you go. See, nobody wants to be me.
Well, no, you play like playing us in the Sims. We sit at home and play games all day. That's not fun to watch or do.
No.
Our overlords who are controlling us are not here because we're sitting here talking to each other on a computer screen. I send my Sims out. I don't want somebody to have 100 babies or that to be a goal in life. But I have a Sim who is now a generational. That's their family goal, to have 100 babies. I don't want that on somebody.
R.I.P.
Also, would that mean that you would have to like? So if our Sims were together in a room, I guess did it get as far as like how did our Sims talk to each other?
Exactly.
Would I click on you?
I'll get there. Trust me.
Okay,
So
let's continue.
So they basically canceled Project Olympus last minute, and from the rancid ashes rose the vulture of a game we have today that is The Sims 4. And yes, I said vulture, not phoenix, because Fox would not do us dirty like this. He would not bleed us dry like this. It's not fair. Anyway.
Whatever Sims 4 would have bled us dry. Let's not...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, probably. But according to the Amazing Twisted Mexi, we stand, the original multiplayer ideas probably why we have such small neighborhoods and no creative style, because that would have required a huge coding overhaul. And we all know how EA feels about pushing back release dates in order to finish a game. They're not too keen on it. But basically, the Sims 4 that we have now was built on top of the engine and the coding that was supposed to be Project Olympus. So they built this whole engine and like the bare bones for a multiplayer game, which they then had to, last minute turn into a single player game, which is probably why we have such limitations now in The Sims 4.
I wonder, like, you couldn't have pulled the old Disney trick, which Disney, like, when Disney was running out of time, they traced over stuff they did.
No.
They couldn't have used, like, Sims 3 as, like, a launching pad for an updated game with some, like...
No. They would have had to completely overhaul the code because they made the basis for a multiplayer game, and all of a sudden it had to be a single player game. And they couldn't do that because a lot of the performance in a multiplayer game goes to the multiplayer aspect, which meant that they had to cut down on certain other assets of the game, including the creative style, including the massive open world. Like, these are all things that would not have worked.
Do they mean, like, creative style? Because we have...
Creative style. No, the color wheel.
Okay, I was like, we
creative
had
style.
class. We had
No. That's Creative Sim. That's Creative Sim. It's creative style.
Oh, creative style is like the wheel and the textures.
Yeah, the color wheel and the textures and so.
Okay, I need clarification for someone who did not.
They couldn't put any of that in. That's also why the Sims 4 had like such a cartoony look.
I don't know
why they went for. I mean, it's definitely an improvement over the Potato Sims. I will admit that, but they looked worse. Trust me. Check the video. They looked worse.
I stand by that because, like, anybody who's like Sims 3, they look great. I was like, yes, but how much custom content do you have? So
yeah, that's
like, anything looks good with custom content.
I will be the first to admit that I always play with custom content for Cass because my Sims just because I can't stand the potato looks. But yeah, that's basically. According to Twisted Mexi, that's why we have so much limitations in this game, because it was made to be multiplayer, so they had to sacrifice certain assets, and they couldn't get them back in because, like, basically the skeleton of the game did not allow it.
I want to take a peek into the alternate universe where they just said stuff.
Fuck it. We'll go through with it. Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued because the game might not be the. I don't know. Like, there's no way to know without glitzing.
So
the glitchy mess would have been a different glitchy mess, and I would have been intrigued by that.
Why was Project Olympus canceled? I hear you ask.
Okay.
Okay. When did The Sims 4 come out? What year? Do you remember?
8 years ago?
It was 2014. Now, in order to know why Project Olympus was canceled, we have to go back to 2013 and the disaster that was the SimCity launch. It basically showed the devs that they were not going to be able to create a working multiplayer experience for the players, so the project was scrapped.
I guess, like, what was the disaster? Explain.
Yeah, basically, if you were there, if you weren't there, you're one of the lucky ones. But basically, when the new SimCity launched, they made it so that it would be only playable online. Even if you weren't like playing multiplayer, you had to be connected to the internet to play it. And then when it launched, nobody could log on. Like, the online aspect didn't work and nobody could play the game. So people had basically paid like $50-$60 for a game that they couldn't play. You kept having a error that said that it was impossible to log on, and without being able to log on, you couldn't play because it was exclusively online. It was a shit show. People were pissed, to say the least.
The community is so kind and understanding.
Oh yeah. So kind and understanding. We are losing our patience though. I think that was kind of like one of the big pushes that made them go, for fuck's sake!
No, people were equally as bitchy during Sims 3.
Yeah, that is true. But to be fair, Sims 3 had some issues.
Because Sims 2 is a perfect game and it's been downhill since then.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Sims 3 is still the one that I played the most. Sims 1 will always be my favorite, but Sims 3 is a close second. But even I had to admit, like, if you didn't have a computer that was strong enough, you were going to struggle. And you needed third-party mods to be able to play it. Because I have talked about the dreaded Error 12. Where you would try to save your game, and they would basically be transferring little packages of data from the game to the save folder, and then right in the middle of transfer, it would go like, I don't know where to put this! I can't put this, I'm just gonna stand here and hold it! And that was it, you couldn't save. So that happened, and you needed a third-party mod, NROS mods, to get past them. We're going to be talking about NROS and his amazing Sims 3 mods in one of the future episodes, because his mods are their mods. I don't know, his, hers, theirs. Their mods are basically what made the Sims 3 playable for a lot of people, including myself.
The main reason I never played Sims 3 is, like, I cannot play it.
I really enjoyed it because, I mean, I was always lucky to be able to afford like a pretty decent gaming rig. But
me and my little laptop meant for my...
Yeah, people who basically played on microwaves were like, I can't play this. It too much stutter. I have 1 FPS and it is hanging on for dear life and I can't do anything.
The fan sounds like it's about to take off.
Yeah. So... But anyway, yeah, the SimCity launch was a disaster, and that kind of probably made the devs realize, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't put a game exclusively online. We don't know what we're doing. They realized that they weren't going to be able to like make that whole deal work for their players, and the project was scrapped. F's in chat. Oh no, wait, we have to cut the chat because it's not a multiplayer game anymore. But there are still remnants of Project Olympus to be found in the code, kind of like a virus that refuses to die.
Somebody mentioned it, if it was a feature but not the game, right?
Yeah, I will get to that. Sorry. That is my closing statement, Your Honor. I will get to that. So basically the multiplayer town, where like the multiplayer aspects of it would be taking place, not your like private, like you would have like a little town with like 4 lots that your friends could come into, would be like 3 other players and you. But there was also like, I think a multiplayer hub, which looked a lot like Windenburg with like the Tudor style houses and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
The graphics were worse than The Sims 3. Yeah, you heard me. They were worse. Because it was multiplayer, like I said, there probably weren't going to be any life stages, which is probably why all the stages from teen to elder look the exact fucking same, save for some wrinkles here and there. And why babies initially leapt out of cribs as primary school aged children, which freaked me the fuck out in the beginning. They probably didn't have time to put in toddlers. That's probably why we didn't have toddlers in the beginning, because they had to launch a game, and it was supposed to be a multiplayer game, and then it became a not multiplayer game, but they didn't have any life stages in it, and then they had to put some life stages in it, and then toddlers were just complicated.
What I bet their end goal was, because one know what was like up and coming. I wonder if, because like was this Google Glass time when it came out?
Possible.
I wonder
I
if they
don't-
wanted to do eventual virtual reality tag in. I wonder if that was their thought.
No, that would be terrifying.
It was like an idea at the time of just
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. Let's put The Sims in VR so you can really experience it when you're burning to death because you burnt a salad. That's a
Right?
great idea. You wanna know what it feels like to drown in a pool because there's no pool ladder? You can do that in The Sims VR. Because now apparently also
I
wasn't
want to
there
know
a
what it's
guy?
like to win the lotto, okay?
But didn't the guy who made the Oculus Rift said that he made like a VR headset that if you died in the game you would die in real life? Didn't he say that he made that?
Why would you do that?
I don't know, but can you fucking imagine?
No, I was thinking more wholesome stuff of like, I want to know what it's like to buy a house. So I'm like,
Oh god, yeah,
I
well.
want to know what it's like to have the job of my. I want to know what it's like to be an actress. So I'm going
Like,
to VR.
I'm going to go home to my mansion tonight. Puts on VR headset.
Be more like Ready Player One than
Yeah, well,
anything else.
maybe, but not in this case.
I bet money it would have been harder to die if you were playing a sim. I bet money it was harder. There were less deaths.
Maybe.
Cool things.
I don't know. They really did try to like sabotage us on the pool thing because in Sims 4 they don't need a ladder to get out of the pool. If you want them to drown, you have to build a fence around it.
You build a wall.
We always find life finds a way. Okay,
Well, that
life finds a
also
way.
like, why can't they just climb out of the pool? Like if you like, you can get out of the pool. That way.
Not they can't. Not if I have anything to say about it. Anywho, basically, you know, in the previous installations of the betas, we said about like we were talking about things that they cut from the game. In Sims 4, they didn't really cut anything from the game since there wasn't actually a lot there to begin with.
They scrapped the whole game. That's
Yeah.
they scrapped the game. The game got scrapped.
It's just, I mean, what we have is what they put in on top of what was supposed to be a completely different game. It was also very blue. And basically, in his video, which I suggest you check out, Cutipus/Cutipus says that the multiplayer should be an extra feature that can expand upon the single player stuff if they do choose to go that route.
It sounds like Sims 5 might.
Yeah.
Have
Okay.
that option.
let me just move this a little bit closer. I say, keep your damn hands off my household. I put that lamp there because I like it. Don't you dare move it, Brenda. I don't want other people to come into my game. Why do I want other people to come into my game? This is like, I built this house. Look, I own a house, okay? I am lucky enough that I own a house now. I've owned it and I've lived in it since June. And let me tell you something. I love my parents. I love them to death. Could not have done this without them. But sometimes they just come in here and they move stuff. They're like, oh, this would look really good if it was like put there. It's like, yeah, but I don't want it over there. I want it over here because that's where I put it. Because that's what I like.
I've had siblings offer up like, "Oh, you really want that there?" It's like, "Do you fucking live
Yeah,
here?" No.
yeah. That annoys me. And honestly, if you came into my game and started moving my furniture around in my house that I built, I would fucking Alt F4 so fast. Like, you could not. I don't want it.
Wait. Give me like devil's advocate. Not if you go into like if it's an option and not the main thing, but it's an option of like there's a multiplayer area. Knowing you would go into that knowing, and you probably could also add restrictions. I would hope that there'd also be restrictions of like you can like if you go to your friend's house, you're not touching their shit. You're just visiting, so you can.
That's basically his argument as well, where he said, you know, there would probably
making a house.
There would have to be restrictions to the multiplayer aspect of it if you're like mingling with strangers, because would there be creepy adults pretending to be kids? Yeah, you're on the internet. That is something that you have to keep in mind. You are online, and this is a family-friendly game, right? This is supposed to be something that children can play. So, would you run the risk of adults coming on there pretending to be children, being in like children avatars? Would that be something that you could do, or would they also cut the life stages out of it and you could only play the multiplayer as an adult? We don't know, but it's something that you have to keep in mind because it is a possibility. And this is fact. Look at the internet. This is fact that I am telling you. Any environment on the internet can become toxic as fuck if it is not properly regulated. Cough, cough, Twitter. But you would have to have like very clear rules, restrictions, regulations, because let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, The Sims already went online once and it did not end well. Lest we forget, The Sims Online wasn't great. Wasn't great.
Well, I guess, like, if I'm talking about builds, right? If, like, say you could multiplayer a build, you could go, like, there's a plot of land, you put it on multiplayer. I would also, imagine you wouldn't put it out to the public. It would be like, we have friends on EA, whatever, and only you can invite certain friends to join that household build. That I would see it that way. Like, I imagine there'd be stuff that like is out to the public, and that is out to like only friends can come in. That I know.
Yeah, even that I think would potentially ruin friendships, because if you have a house that you share with your friends, and one of them wants carpet and the other one wants wood flooring, that is something that you could end a friendship over.
It would also be different. Like, you do stuff differently knowing full well other people are going to have an input on it. Like, if there's a different level of rage than me going like, this was mine and you touched it, then this was our thing. Like, you have a different sense of ownership over a thing if it's shared.
The way they do it in Stardew Valley is, for me, a really good one. Someone leads the multiplayer world, creates the multiplayer world, the multiplayer farm, and then there are potential for 3 cabins to be put on the farm next to the main farm building that are for multiplayer people. And they can do with their cabins whatever the hell they want. And if you make clear, like when I play with my friends, we have clear rules. Well, not rules, but like we've clearly stated, like, I do the farming, like I do the crops and stuff. My other friend does the fishing. My other friend does the mining. And that is what we do.
Based on how the neighborhoods are set up in Sims 4, all the little sub areas, just based on the fact that it has to do a loading screen to go into a different house. I think that was the intention, because I could do something in even though we're in the same neighborhoods, they were in the same little R4 thing.
Yeah.
I can build in my house, but the minute I leave my lot and load into your house, I can probably only interact with stuff I probably
that could potentially work. Like, if that was a thing, I wouldn't mind it. You and Julia could have a house in my neighborhood. I don't like, that would be fine. But
I think that was the intention, though, just based on how Sims 4 currently loads.
I wouldn't want to play it with strangers, though.
I think it would have to be ones that you're friends with on the game. I think if you have to invite somebody, it wouldn't be open. I think you would have to invite somebody over.
Yeah, but then there was like the general, like the big like Windenburg style world, because like the general, like the mini lots of like the thing with the 4 lots that looked like Willow Creek. It looked like Willow Creek, but then there was like a general. Kind of like a multiplayer hub that looked like Windenburg, which is probably where you would meet up with other players that you didn't know, which is an aspect that I don't want at all.
Well, you wouldn't have to go to it, doesn't sound like.
I would hope so, because if it's like other MMOs, they will probably try to like fucking force you to
sell something there that you have
interact with strangers.
Why are you making me go to Oribus? I don't want to go through Oribus just to get to the freaking mall.
Yeah, it's like I appreciate the fact that in World of Warcraft there are no, like, you're not forced to do the dungeons in order to finish the storyline and move on.
Learned how to do the dungeons I played this entire expansion pack. I went through them for the quest line and the quest line only, and I have yet to go back. I don't know how those work.
I have to do that one dungeon. I think the not the Ouroboros, the Bastion. I have to do the Bastion dungeon.
I hate that dungeon. Also,
Yeah.
people just cut corners a lot in that, and you're like, fuck, where are we going?
Yeah, so I have to do Necrotic Wake, which I do not want to do, but I don't have to. I am now in Ardenwald, and I am like living my best fairy life. So this is great. I've just been able to move on without finishing the actual dungeon, which is great. Take Final Fantasy XIV. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love Final Fantasy XIV. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's amazing. But in the beginning, there were certain dungeons that were tied to the main quest scenarios. And those you had to complete or you would not be able to move on. And they only had Dungeon Finder, basically Duty Finder. So you had to queue up, and if you were DPS, it was horrible. It meant queues of like 20-30 minutes because there was always a shortage of tank and healers, and as a DPS you were like, well, I'm gonna queue up for a dungeon and I'm gonna go wash the dishes because it's gonna take a while. But those you had to complete those. Now they have changed it so that they're like slowly implementing it over all of the expansions, but they're now changing it so that you can do it with a party of NPCs, which I think is also a very good improvement.
I think
yeah. So it's the trust system, and you can basically go in with a party of NPCs, so you don't have to play with other people. Because let's be real, other people suck.
They do.
And like any dungeon that I've ever done in World of Warcraft with other people, and I have recently done the new patch dungeon, phase 2 of the new expansion patch, the pre-patch, I have done it twice. And that was the first time in my, trying to count now, in my 12 years of playing World of Warcraft, that I have had a random dungeon run where somebody wasn't yelling at someone.
The time to play World of Warcraft talking about the time to play World of Warcraft dungeons, the time to learn them, the first 2 weeks of release. If you try to learn those dungeons, God forbid you couldn't play the game during those first 2 weeks. Those first 2 weeks, everybody's patient. You're kind. You're patient.
Learning.
We're all learning together. You know, it just came out.
It's new.
Because you could just go in there going, "LOL, I just watched the video, so I hope I can figure this out." People are like, "No, we're good. We're all learning." I have a distinct memory of when Cataclysm came out, and like they changed one of the Westfall dungeon, the one with the boat at the end.
The mines. Yeah.
They changed that dungeon so much that me and the other 4 people in the group were like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like the amount of just like, oh my god, that was absolutely we were just, our entire group was like clinging to each other because we're like, we don't have any idea what this is. And we were like, well, we'll figure this out as we go. And it took a solid hour. I think it took some time because that's a long dungeon, and B, it changed so drastically, and we did that. This particular group had no fucking clue that it did, so we were just like,
dear,
like, okay, as we just like ripped on for dear life of like,
sure. We'll get there. Eventually. Yeah.
But
In the
meantime,
meantime,
a part of the WoW community is during the release because that's when people are willing to deal with newbies. It's unfortunate. I guess to say like the end all be all for multiplayer in the Sims games, I don't think it's a straight up no. As far as you just got to do it, not force the multiplayer. And if you just want to play with friends, that should be an op. I would only want to play with you guys. Like I would only want to do it like knowing like, okay, we're gonna build this house, or like we're gonna decorate this house. We each pick a room, and like
it would be fun if we could, because like we've all built like a podcast house where everybody like had their own room. It would be nice if we could have like an actual podcast house where people love the podcast. You just like, yeah. Anyway, that would be cool, but don't force it on me. Don't make it like you have to play multiplayer in order to be able to play the rest. Just make it optional.
I still would like to peek into the universe that they did their intended plan, because I'd be intrigued about what was wrong with that game and what ended up just working. Because, like, I think Sims 4 has taught us that the Sims community rolls a lot with bad situations because they make us. And I would be intrigued by, like, what ended up being good about what they did and what ended up being a god-awful idea. I would be intrigued to look and peek around and play it and just know what the problems were and what ended up not being a problem. Because I think it'd be interesting to know. Because having to completely scrap your game and having to use a code to make a game that's not the intended use of that game because you had an idea that probably was not the best idea, and then try to work off of that freaking code for almost a decade.
I do have to admit, when I learned about the whole Project Olympus thing and the fact that they had to build a single player game on like the bare bones of a multiplayer game on a multiplayer engine, I have a lot more understanding and respect for the devs because, let's face it, we all know it was EA who said, no, this was supposed to be the release date. We still need to release a game. And they went, well, we don't have time to rebuild an entire fucking engine, so we just have to kind of like patch things on and hope that it works.
Yeah.
Does it work? Not always.
And there's a whole bunch of just like, it's not a good situation all around, and I would have been intrigued to know what they would have done, but I guess we'll never know. And hopefully Sims 5 they can split the difference of
That'd be nice.
But I'm sure news of Sims 5 of Project Renee is going to be probably for the next 2 years.
Probably.
Before it's announced as Sims 5 would be my bet. So we'll get one more expansion pack in that time.
Unless the entire game is fucking leaked before they finish it.
Would you play the leaked?
No.
I don't see the point. Like, especially right now.
Absolutely not.
I, like, played a beta for a game that, like, I signed up to help with the beta, and I was playing it, and, like, it's funny, but you have to sit there knowing, like, this is not done. And, like, the characters are walking around T-pose because that's the animation they have. Like, it's not done. Having it this far, like, it's probably such a baby like, no.
No
way.
Nope.
But you'll find out if there's any other interesting leaks. We'll let you know.
Did I play a good beta? I did play a good beta. Well, technically it wasn't a beta, it was early access, but Disney's Dreamlight Valley.
Oh, is that good?
Yeah.
Is that out? You just break it
yes and no. You can get the early access, but you have to pay for it. But you do get like a whole bunch of like stuff for the game, like clothes and furniture and stuff with it. But once it releases next year, I think April next year, I'm not sure, but next year, it's gonna be free.
I can't say my game because I signed an NDA.
That's fair enough.
I was like, did you just paperwork?
No, it is open. Like anyone can absolutely play it if they want to, but you have to purchase a founder's pack, and I think the lowest one for that is like $35 or something.
My $60 is going towards my DoorDash order, so.
I have absolutely no more money to spend, but next month I need to get the new Pokemon game and the WoW expansion.
I heard bad things about the Pokemon. It's glitchy AF. Metadon.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's okay if I wait a little bit longer. I honestly still don't know which version to get because for once in history, they're like actually different. And not just because, you can catch this Pokemon in this version and this Pokemon in this version. No, it's different. Like, the school you go to is different. Like, I think the Scarlet version is, like, kind of, like, prehistoric themed, and the other one is, like, futuristic themed. And, like, I don't know. One of the professors are different. In the Scarlet one, you have, like, this really cool-looking lady. And then the Violet one, you have, like, this really cool-looking dude. So, I still don't know which ones to get. Because, like, every version has something that I want. And I'm not sure which one to get. But, anyway.
I almost sent you a TikTok of somebody, like, the glitches and just, like... Sometimes, like, in the battle, like, one of the Pokemon just disappears for half the battle. Like, it's just not there. Like, the visuals are gone. Or
that
like,
is problematic.
Like, there's just a whole bunch of stuff of like, well, that's broken.
To be fair, there were some instances when I was playing Legend of Arceus, and it was supposed to, I think, be based on that concept of like the open world battling. There were some instances where I was like, I'm pretty sure I just threw my Pokeball at you to fight you, and I don't know where my Pokemon is because my camera is stuck in a tree.
I don't know what happened here.
I know, yeah. So that was always fun because, like, if you were standing on top of a mountain and you threw your ball down, sometimes the camera would go like whoop and get caught in a tree, and then you'd be like, I see leaves. So many leaves. All the leaves are brown. So
and the
yeah.
skies are gray, and the sky is
Fucking love that song!
California dreaming.
I love that song so much. But yeah.
That's the end of the. That was a good debate.
That was a good debate, yeah.
The policies of some possible.
You would like to see it like be done in the future just to see if it's possible, and I'm more on the oh, maybe we should.
As long as it keeps the ability for me to do my own game by myself, and like I want to be in my biggest hoodie that I have with my legs tucked up and me just gremling and not having to worry about social faux pas.
Voila.
A game that The Sims is a deadlier game, and one of my favorite things ever is having Sims player verbally say out loud the things they've done to other Sims. And like, but it'd be so much weirder to go into someone's game and then be like, this is my torture chamber. And you just have to be like,
yep.
Yes.
Yes.
And like, it's just like, yeah, that's normal, that tracks. And just
what's behind this bookcase? That's a lot of chemicals. Is this a meth lab? It's supposed to be an alchemy chamber, but whatever.
You didn't see my artistry, but I guess we can't all be. Yeah,
that's
so it's just
fine. That's fine. I mean,
because it's just a weird place for like the weirdest thoughts in your brain to just go.
Can you imagine though, loading into one of Kate's builds?
Oh,
the ones that she makes for the showcase.
Like,
Kate, I fucking love you, but
a secret tunnel that's like somehow mother. Like,
are you okay? Like, do you need to talk to someone? Do you need therapy? Should we get sponsored by BetterHelp so you can?
She's working on her own basement. Everything's fine.
Yep, that's absolutely great. Oh god, I remember she made like that graveyard lot for that thing that it was so great.
Ever made when we were testing out Twitch to see if people who like Twitch and whatnot. The first thing Julia ever made, like Twitch stream-esque, was I think we just were like, let's build the underground layer situation, and she built like half of the underground layer was a house and the other half was a torture chamber. So the first thing I ever watched Julia build was that. And us just being like, she's a witch, and then just
and then imagine like a stranger walking into your house and it turns out to be like this 12-year-old going like, what's that?
Yeah.
I don't think I can tell you that because I'd probably get arrested.
There might, I wonder if it'll be, if they did do it, like if people could come in, you'd have to be like, are you this age or younger? And if you register your account and you put a birth date in, you might not be allowed in. So bringing back the age-old thing of just straight up lying about your age with every website you go in.
Like maybe servers are based on age groups, but again, that's very easy to circumvent. So
but it makes them less
regulations is my point.
It makes them a little less liable if they're like, we put a thing in, like...
Yeah, but that just makes it so that they can't get sued by parents of a child who has been groomed by an adult pretending to be a child. That gives me absolutely zero sympathy. Like, they won't be the ones in trouble. They will never be the ones in trouble. Because they have fancy lawyers who can draw up contracts and make it so that they don't get in trouble.
The person grooming should be the one in trouble.
Exactly, but that's not going to be like...
It's also like, if it were to happen in a restaurant, it's not the restaurant's fault if they didn't know it was. It's a weird like.
If you're, to me personally, if you have this game, and this could actually be a problem, where you could have adults interacting with children, and these adults are pretending to be children, like this is.
You would have to have a person in every single. You would have to have a moderator in every single server.
But like, I would rather have the company try to do something to stop that from happening than the company doing something to stop them from getting sued.
There literally is nothing. No, like how would they stop it?
I don't know. There's a lot of people smarter out there that are smarter than me that can come up with these
the
things.
age restrictions, like that A is to prevent it and B to stop. Everything that could prevent it is also to prevent them from getting sued. Like it goes hand in hand.
I mean,
of like you have to like
I don't
do
know.
both.
I just know that as a parent, if like that were to happen to my child, I would immediately go, "You made this happen."
It's not like some of it's like it's not. Is it the chat room's fault? It's more the person's fault than the chat room.
Yeah, but again, if you then had to moderate chats, it would be probably a nightmare.
It's messier, and it's there's preventing, and I don't know if there's a way to fully like nothing bad will ever happen here. There's no Warren Buffett say like I don't.
There's no Warren Buffett say. No, I guess you're right.
Like I don't like. It's hard to like. I made a nice park, and there's people like it just creates another space, and anything bad can happen in any space.
That is true.
This is my like. Which I want them to prevent it. I do, but also like I don't have any way to like they can put all the right things in the right places, and people are shit, and people are gonna do bad things. Like
that is true.
But
you make a fair point there.
It's the world they open up if they open it up to multiplayer. If they make it so anybody can enter into certain places.
That is correct.
So they are.
You're right.
They're both forming the house. I don't know. It's complicated, and I hope they think about it when they do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I still wouldn't want to play with other people that I don't know, but that's just me because I am an antisocial piece of shit.
And from what we've seen, like it looks like you can rotate pillows. It looks like a little bit of the custom style thing is back from the looks of it.
Give me more shit that I can mess around with because I don't have anxiety enough about like decoration.
Also, again, it's early days. They could completely change it and take it away
They could be making it as a single-player game now and then change their minds and make it a multiplayer game. Could be anything.
But we shall see. I think they got enough positive responses from the little blurby thing that we got that I don't know if they'll completely go to... But it doesn't... We're done now. We did it.
We did it. We're done. Yay!
Circle back around on that forever. It'll be an ongoing fight till it happens. Guess what? I did the intro, so you have to do the plugs. I've been waiting for you to do the plugs.
Oh, I have to do the plugs. Okay, well, you can find us on the social medias. Probably not on Twitter anymore soon.
We're not. I don't know.
We're
lazy, so we haven't completely left it yet. But we're waiting.
No. Well, we're working on it. Because we're not comfortable with the way that is going. But you can find us on Instagram and for now Twitter under PlumBobcast. We can
get our name if we go somewhere else. Continue. Sorry, I was like, we can even get our full name.
You can be found on Reddit under Plumbob Podcast. We are under the Plumbob Podcast on Facebook and Tumblr. We have a website created by our lovely Julia called plumbobcast.com, and you can use the contact form there to contact us, or you can email us directly at undertheplumbobpodcast@gmail.com. We also have merch. You can find that link in the description. We have a Patreon, and if you join that, you can join the Broke Newbie family tier, which is $1, and it'll get you access to our private Discord chat to chat with all the fellow citizens and the UTBP team members. So if you want to,
in there and stuff.
Yeah, like I just uploaded the shell challenge for our next showcase, and it's a Christmas market. So I want you guys to build me a Christmas market. So if you want to build me a Christmas market, join our challenge. There's also the Top Hat Money tier, which is $3. So you get Discord access plus a monthly bonus episode. And we recently did a Am I the Asshole bonus episode where we read Am I the Asshole stories and then commented on whether or not.
That one's a video one too, and I watched it and I almost spit out my drink. I fundamentally was because it was Jess, Julia, and Allie.
Yep. So if you guys want to also spit out your coffee because we are so damn funny, come join us. I know I did a creepypasta episode with Vanity, a Spooky Spaghetti, and we do these things.
There's a super old one of you and me talking about Star Wars.
About Star Wars? Oh, yeah!
The last movie came out, we were both like, this ain't it.
Yeah,
this
no.
Ain't it.
This ain't, The Rise of Skywalker came out, and we have feelings. If you want to listen to me lose my absolute mind over 2 fucking words and Rise of Skywalker, you should join the Top Hat Money tier and give us $3, and we will entertain you with a bonus episode every month. So please subscribe, rate, and review. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Play, and others. I would also like to thank our wonderful writing and research team, which was Caitlin and I.
We did it. We researched our own shit.
Yup.
This week because we're lazy.
Yup. This week, most of it came from, for me, it came from Cutipus/Cutipus. That's where I got all my info from.
Mine was, if you search Sims 1 beta, there's something called pre-release The Sims Windows, the cutting room floor, and that's where a lot of my shit is from. Because I don't want to, it's some kind of wiki, but it's not.
So, in that case, I just want to leave us with 2 shout-outs, one for Cutipus/Cutipus, and one for Audrey, who made this episode happen. Thank you, boo. Love you. Mwah.
And then she also had, she was just before her time, because then the Sims 5 failed. Sims 5 Alpha started coming out.
So anyway, that was us for today.
Yay!
Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you were entertaining enough. If you want to have a chat with us, come on our social medias or just join our Discord and let us know what you think about Sims multiplayer, because I am interested in finding out what other people think about these things. Do you want multiplayer in your game? Do you not want multiplayer in your game? Do you want it as an option? Like, do you want it there? Like, you know, like ketchup on the side? Like, I want to decide how much ketchup I put on my burger, so just put it on the side and I'll like add it if I want to. So let us know. And we'll see you next time.
Bye. Save your game.
Bye. Save your game. Stay hydrated.
And happy holidays season.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadians and all the Americans. And
Canadian Thanksgiving was it? Happened, I think.
Oh. Well, happy Thanksgiving for the Americans then. And for the Europeans who don't celebrate it, I'll see y'all at Christmas.
Bye.